Good evening. This is Jason Dean coming live at you again for another pretty impromptu Film Fanatic show. So yeah, you typically typically I do movies, do movie shows usually like in the morning, but I've been kind of on vacation and kind of living a pretty fun, carefree life this week. So it's been really awesome. So I've been kind of out of town a little bit and going back out of town again this weekend. So I have been kind of on a very different schedule, but I'm still making videos as I go. And I just did a big interview show that's going to be coming up, and it might be uploaded tonight, but stay tuned for that. It's a really cool show. I'm really excited to share the video with people. I think it came out really great. It's a really cool interview, so stay tuned. And lately, when I've been doing these videos, I've been kind of doing them a little bit more, like on a impromptu side of things. So I decided to. I just went to Bull Moose on actually yesterday. I went to Bull Moose. I went up to Waterville and spent the day up there. Went to a bunch of shopping. Went out to eat. Went to this really great Indian restaurant, and I ended up going to Bull Moose. And so I typically haven't. Well, lately when I go out shopping for movies, I usually go to Bangor now. I go to Bangor to the Bull Moose there. I find it's pretty, really, well, pretty consistent, but overall probably the best shop that there is right now. In terms of finding, really obscure grindhouse movies and things like of that nature. They have an impeccable selection in Bangor. I think it's the best around. And I used to go to Waterville, but Waterville for some reason the Bull Moose there it's still good, but their selection as far as like the more low budget exploitation movies is really sad. I don't know what happened, but I've noticed that they don't have nowhere near as many titles as they used to. It's funny and surprising, but their 4K section, I don't have a 4K player. I don't I don't own any 4K movies. I thought about it, but I don't know. We'll see. But I'm pretty much, I like to look for really good Blu-rays, good collector's editions of Blu-rays. And so I looked at their 4K selection that they had, and they had a really good selection. They had many more grindhouse movies and exploitation movies in their 4K section than they did in their Blu-ray, and I never noticed that before, so that was really surprising. But I did find a couple of movies, and one that I bought was a movie that I realized I've never seen before, which I kind of kicked myself as to why I've never seen it. And and the other thing about it that why it makes me want to kick myself even more is it's a movie directed by my favorite Italian director of all time, and that is Lucio Fulci. I've done lots of shows on Lucio Fulci. I've done a bunch of videos on his movies. House by the Cemetery, Gates of Hell, Warriors of the Year 2049. I mean, Demonia, the New York Ripper. The list is endless. Classic after classic, classic after classic, as far as I'm concerned. He is my favorite Italian director and has been for many, many years. It wasn't until this past couple of years that I really went out and bought as many of his movies as I can, and I have acquired quite a few of his movies on Blu-ray. And for some reason, the one movie which I've always heard, and I would say, the New York Ripper is definitely one of my favorite Lucio Fulci movies. I think that movie is just the epitome of sleaze, and it's like one of the greatest slasher movies ever made. It's such an amazing movie. And the other movie that for me, as far as Lucio Fulci goes, as far as like my favorite or my favorite film or one of my favorites, is House by the Cemetery. I've done multiple videos on that. I love that movie to death. That movie is Lucio Fulci directed basically a trilogy of movies in the late 70s into the 80s, and the Gates of Hell trilogy basically, where the first movie that he did in the trilogy was The Beyond, and then after that he directed the Gates of Hell, and then the third one was The House by the Cemetery. And I have both of those films on Blu-ray, and they were just, again, amazing films. And I had never seen The Beyond. I realized that actually tonight. I went to Bull Moose. When I went to Bull Moose yesterday, I bit the bullet and I bought this amazing collection edition of The Beyond on Blu-ray. This collection is jaw dropping. It really is. I just finished this movie, and I realized I have never seen this movie before. Crazy, crazy, and I have to say, well, before I talk about the movie itself, this movie package is just simply spectacular. It has the movie. It's all remastered on sorry, not 4K. It's all remastered on Blu-ray. A beautiful edition. This artwork is just amazing. The slipcase, just incredible. And then you got the movie itself, and it's got it has the movie, the feature film, The Beyond from 1981. The other thing that is super cool and amazing is it comes with the soundtrack for the film. And so I'm very, very excited. I was super pumped about that. I didn't realize when I bought it that the soundtrack was also included. So super excited by that. And then also the disc itself, or I should say 2 discs. It has the feature movie itself, and then it has an entire second disc of just bonus features, which I am going to be checking out after I finish this video. And I have to say, and again, what I'm about to say is a bold statement. But as you can see, this package is spectacular. It's got the 2 discs, amazing artwork. This edition was actually very expensive, but I was like, it's got some of the original artwork on the front, the Beyond. This edition was actually very expensive, but I was like, screw it. I am on vacation, and hey, what's it's only money, right? So I bit the bullet and I bought it. I have seen this particular edition for this movie for a very long time, actually. I've seen it in multiple shops. It's a movie that I come across many times, or this specific edition I've come across many times in my travels. And so yesterday I was just like, well, one reason that I just bought it was the selection for the Grindhouse movies and these kinds of films was pretty bad. But again, I needed to buy this movie because this movie is essential. So I bought it, and I thought before I watched, I was like, I must have seen this movie, because when I grew up in the 70s, I was born in the mid 70s, and then when I got into horror films, and I was part of my generation was the VHS culture. So I saw so many of Lucio Fulci's movies on VHS as a kid. And now I own most of them on Blu-ray. So it's just an amazing time to be alive if you're a movie collector. But I just finished watching it. I realized I've never seen this movie. And I was just like, what the hell? And I have to say what I'm about to say is, probably it's very bold and kind of controversial, but not really. But it's a bold statement. I think pound for pound, The Beyond by Lucio Fulci is probably, I will say it's the greatest horror movie ever made. That's all I have to say about it. It's definitely, it's got the most blood chilling atmosphere I've ever seen in a movie. It is, the gore and the practical effects in this movie are just unlike anything I've ever seen, even for Lucio Fulci's films, which are notoriously graphic and brutal. The story is just incredible. It is basically about this house that is built on this site, this like kind of burial site that is acts almost like a portal or a gateway to opening the gates of hell. And it's kind, in some ways it's kind of a ghost story or zombie movie, very much a supernatural film, like 100%. But the way it's told is just unbelievable. Like it's got this very surrealistic quality. The way the film opens and the way Lucio Fulci was able to tie the beginning and the ending together is like the most satisfying ending or conclusion for a horror film that I've ever seen. It's pure magic. And Lucio Fulci's movies are known for the really intense and rich atmosphere that his worlds are. And this movie is unlike anything I've ever seen before. And it has a very dreamlike quality to it, which I think is amazing. It's got a surrealistic quality to it. But at the same time, it's a ghost story, and it's a zombie movie, and it is a balls to the wall horror movie. Unlike anything I have ever seen. And again, I've seen a lot of horror films in my time. Lucio Fulci is my favorite horror, pretty much my favorite Italian director. He might even be my favorite horror director, really. But I think now, after I've watched this movie finally, for after so many years have passed, this came out in 1981. I have to say that this movie is the greatest, for me, the greatest horror movie I've ever seen. And I guess if anybody ever asks somebody, I will be like, yep, the greatest horror movie that you have to see of all time is Lucio Fulci's The Beyond from 1981. It is cinematic gold. It's a complete masterpiece. And so I just wanted to do a relatively quick video just talking about this movie because I couldn't wait to talk about it. So thanks again, and I cannot recommend this movie enough. It is in the genre of horror, which is my favorite genre. It's the ultimate kind of the benchmark or apex of all things horror. It's got everything. So thanks again to everyone checking out this channel and my videos. And I'll be uploading that interview I've been talking about, that I talked about in the beginning of the show, pretty soon. So thanks again, and we will see you next time. Peace.